Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine just one voter list,
Hmm.
right, in one Indian state. And think about how reviewing that list really carefully isn't just, about who votes. It actually connects to things like international borders, national security, even the very idea of democracy. It's quite a leap, isn't it?
It really is. Quite surprising when you first hear it.
Yeah. So today we're going to look closely at India's efforts, specifically in the state of Bihar, to identify undocumented immigrants using, well, the voter rolls.
Mm.
We've got sources talking about a pretty major move by the Election Commission of India, and the Supreme Court is backing it. It's all about cleaning up these lists.
Mm.
Our mission, really, in this deep dive, is to get what this process actually involves, why it's seen as so important, both for, the democratic process in India and its national security, and also what surprising things have actually cropped up on the ground. Get ready for maybe a few aha moments, because this story unfolds in some really interesting ways.
Well, what's fascinating right off the bat is how the Election Commission of India, the ECI, they've kicked off something called the Special Intensive Revision, just in Bihar for now. And this isn't like a quick check. It's a very deliberate, technical process. The goal is a completely fresh electoral roll. They're not even really looking at the old list. It's like starting totally from scratch.
Okay, so starting from scratch, if we think about it like, say, a building, they're not just slapping on a new coat of paint. They're essentially tearing it down to the foundations and rebuilding the whole voter list structure. Is that kind of the right analogy for this special intensive revision?
That's a perfect analogy.
So what does that mean, like, on the ground?
It literally means going house to house, door to door. You have enumerators visiting every single household. These enumerators, they're often called booth-level officers, or BLOs.
Right, BLOs, okay.
And they are specifically tasked with recording eligible electors. They have to meticulously verify citizenship, age, documents, all of it. It's an absolutely massive job, a total ground-up rebuild of, who gets to vote.
And this isn't just something the ECI dreamt up, right? I mean, it has a legal basis.
Oh, absolutely. It's carried out under India's main electoral law, the Representation of Peoples Act. They're specifically using what the Act calls an intensive method for this revision in Bihar. The ECI does this when they basically believe the current rolls are just too outdated or inaccurate or, frankly, need a complete overhaul.
Right, a complete overhaul. This special intensive revision in Bihar, it sounds incredibly ambitious. Is this just a Bihar thing, or is it maybe a test case,
Yeah.
a pilot for something bigger? What's the wider context here?
That's the really crucial point. If you connect the dots, this is actually the first time they've done such a comprehensive exercise like this nationwide in, well, the last 2 decades.
Wow, 2 decades.
Yeah. So while Bihar is the starting point, and that's likely because they have state elections coming up later this year, the ECI actually announced back on June 24th, they announced that this intensive verification, this deep clean of the voter rolls, will eventually be done across the entire country.
The whole country.
The whole country. I mean, just think about Bihar alone. We're talking over 77,000 BLOs deployed there right now, meticulously confirming birthplaces, citizenship details. It's huge.
77,000, that scale is just staggering. So, okay, these thousands of BLOs are out there now. What are they finding? What kinds of unexpected things are emerging from their initial work?
Well, this is where it starts to get really serious, and you see the deeper implications. They've already identified quite a few individuals who, it turns out, are not Indian citizens at all.
Really?
Yeah, apparently from neighboring countries, Nepal, Bangladesh, even Myanmar. And somehow they'd managed to get themselves registered on the voter lists.
How? I mean, how does that even happen?
Well, and this is maybe the most alarming part. These individuals have reportedly used fraudulent documents. We're talking fake Aadhaar cards, India's unique biometric IDs,
Oh.
and ration cards, the ones used for essential food supplies, even domicile certificates to prove local residency. They've used these to essentially create, well, false identities within the system.
So not just slipping through the cracks, but actively using fake core IDs.
Exactly. Their names have now been flagged, obviously, for investigation, and the ECI fully expects to exclude them from the final list, which they're aiming to publish by September 30th.
That's more than just a finding. It really is a stark warning, isn't it? Using fundamental documents like Aadhaar suggests something maybe more organized than just, isolated cases.
It certainly raises questions.
Right, and with such a critical process and findings like these, you have to wonder about the courts. What's the Supreme Court said about this ECI initiative? Have they weighed in?
Yes, they have. And the Supreme Court has explicitly supported the ECI's special intensive revision in Bihar. They're on board. In fact, during the hearing about it, the court didn't just give the nod to Bihar's effort. They went further and stated that this kind of nationwide cleanup is actually essential across all of India.
Ah, so they see the bigger picture, too.
Absolutely. Especially, they noted, given the demographic changes that have been observed in many states,
Mhm.
seemingly due to irregular migration. But, importantly, they also added a condition.
Okay.
They stipulated that individuals who do have valid Aadhaar cards, valid voter IDs, valid ration cards, legitimate citizens, they shouldn't be unnecessarily harassed or just kicked off the rolls. So ensuring due process is still key.
Okay, so it's a green light for the cleanup, definitely, but with that crucial protection for genuine citizens. Makes sense. So what makes this move in Bihar so commendable, as some sources put it, beyond just fixing the voter list itself?
Well, it's seen as commendable precisely because it goes beyond just electoral integrity. It's being explicitly framed by those involved in reporting on it as a vital step for national security.
National security.
Bihar is
Yeah.
effectively the pilot project, the test bed, for this much larger national cleanup campaign, as it's being called. And the ECI has already said, look, similar intensive revisions are coming. They're planned for states like West Bengal, Assam, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, all states that happen to have elections scheduled for 2026. So you see the pattern.
Right, it highlights how widespread the concern must be. But, this deep dive seems to reveal layers that go even beyond that internal cleanup, beyond just electoral lists. What if I told you? What if cleaning up a voter list in Bihar could actually be seen as, like, a direct response to a geopolitical strategy playing out near India's borders? And my sources point toward a pretty chilling connection with national security, specifically involving Bangladesh. How does this voter list work tie into that?
All right, this is where the sort of local boots-on-the-ground effort connects directly to the bigger geopolitical stage. It's quite startling. Just a couple of months ago, you had this Turkey-sponsored NGO based in Dhaka showcasing a new map, a map depicting a greater Bangladesh.
A greater Bangladesh. What does that entail?
Well, it wasn't just an academic exercise in map making. The map clearly implied, or at least was interpreted by analysts as implying, an intent to demographically change and potentially absorbed several Indian states into this envisioned larger entity.
Wow. Absorb Indian states.
That's the implication highlighted by security analysts looking at this. So when you then find undocumented individuals on voter rolls using fake Indian IDs, it suddenly looks like a tangible on-the-ground sign of exactly that kind of demographic shift, a shift that, external actors could potentially exploit to redraw borders, not just on paper, but in reality.
That is a chilling thought, that a map isn't just a map.
Exactly. And we've seen other things that point to this pressure, right? Like
Yep.
reports about demolitions of illegally built homes in places like Taimur Colony in Delhi. These aren't necessarily isolated incidents when seen in this context.
Oh, it's not just a theoretical map. It might reflect a perceived strategy that's having real-world impacts, possibly confirmed by intelligence.
Precisely. India's Intelligence Bureau, the IB, they've confirmed it in their reports. They've documented significant demographic changes in several border districts, particularly those near the Chicken Neck corridor.
Right, that very narrow strategic strip of land connecting mainland India to the northeast. Extremely sensitive area.
Highly sensitive. And the districts mentioned include places like Uttar Dinajpur in West Bengal, and then Kishanganj, Purnia, Katihar, and Bihar, all very close to the Bangladesh border. And it gets even more direct. Some radical groups in Bangladesh have actually articulated plans, apparently, for an Islamic state that would encompass parts of the Indian Northeast and Bangladesh.
Okay, that definitely escalates the national security dimension.
It absolutely demonstrates the profound security implications of, well, uncontrolled demographic shifts. And suddenly, a clean, accurate voter list doesn't just seem like good governance. It looks like a potential first line of defense.
Yeah. So let's try and pull this all together then. What does it all mean? We've talked about how this focused effort starting in Bihar to clean up voter lists, initially looking like a pilot, is actually, well, part of a much bigger nationwide plan. This special intensive revision by the Election Commission, it has strong backing from the Supreme Court. And it's not just being talked about as fixing elections, it's explicitly framed as crucial for national security.
Right.
From the frankly surprising discovery of fraudulent Aadhaar cards, ration cards being used for voter registration,
Yeah, that was eye-opening.
to the intelligence confirmation of demographic shifts in really sensitive border areas, and even this geopolitical context of greater Bangladesh maps. This whole initiative touches on some incredibly deep issues. It really highlights that complex dance between, internal governance and potential external threats.
Absolutely. This brings up a really important question, something for you, the listener, to think about. How can the integrity of something that seems as straightforward as a voter list actually ripple outwards? How does it affect national borders, geopolitical stability? And thinking further, what other implications might this kind of ongoing demographic shift have on the social fabric, the economy in those affected regions? And maybe even how might similar issues be playing out perhaps differently in other countries around the world that are also dealing with irregular migration? Definitely something to mull over as you navigate, the complex information landscape out there.